Hi there, folks. This is Sam Price with another episode of Probate Notes, and I have with me a good friend of mine, Ryan Holloway, who is with Edward Jones, and he's going to tell us a lot about the intricacies of investments and retirement accounts. Hi there, Ryan. How are you today?
I'm doing real well. Thanks very much for inviting me. How you doing today?
Great, wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you for the
Before we
opportunity.
get, yeah, before we get started, why don't you tell me a bit about your background?
Yeah, so I work for Edward Jones. I'm a financial advisor here in the Redlands area. I've grown up around this area myself. Went to school around the area here at the University of Redlands as well, and have my family here. I originally went to school, not really planning on being a financial advisor, to be honest, but I got an internship with a company called Scott Trade a long time ago, and in 2008, which was a kind of a precarious time, of course, and got to see what's going on in the industry at that time, and really loved it. I graduated college and got to see what happened in the markets and the economy at that time, and got the opportunity to get licensed there, and it was a really kind of a fun time, if you will, to be in the industry, and really found out that I love doing this and I'm really good at it. I love being with my clients and love building wealth with them. And built that for about 7 years, moved over then to more on the advisory side, because that was on the trading side. It was uh, we call online trading, so more of education. Then I went into Merrill Lynch. I worked for them for about 3 years on the advisory side, and then really found that I wanted to help my clients in a deeper level, wanted to provide more holistic planning, wealth management, and really have better relationships with my clients. And that's where I found Edward Jones, and they have the same philosophies that I did in terms of the quality of the investments and what I can do to help them, and that, clients were first. And, I really, really love that. And, I've been in the industry for 18 years and don't see myself doing anything else.
So I want to be sure I understand because these type of retirement accounts that we're talking about are ones in which maybe dad had a job in which he was able to contribute to some type of retirement plan. And there's a whole bunch of letters and numbers that are involved, right? There you could have some type of IRA, some type of 401k, some type of 423, I don't know, whatever the numbers are.
Yeah, there's a lot of different types. So there's the 401ks, 401as, 403b, 457, like you said, lots of those. And each of those are roughly all the same in how they function. But they're actually specifically IRS codes for different employers that are offering that plan. So like a 401k is somebody who, or is a business that is a privately held business or a for-profit business. 403b is very similar, but it's for a nonprofit or like a school district. A 457 plan is something that's connected to the government. So they all function fairly much the same, and they can all be transferred the same, and still have the beneficiaries and managed very much the same as that. But usually what will happen is once you have the employer plan, then it, my husband passes away and it goes to the wife, then she will roll it over into an IRA. So the IRA is outside of the employer plan or that particular plan with the way that they manage that. And now you can hold that IRA with anywhere you'd like. It can be held in a bank. You can hold it with a brokerage firm. You can manage it on your own. You can have somebody, myself as an advisor, help manage that with you and plan for that. So you have full control of where you do that and who you're working with, and also the type of investments that you have it in. So you got a lot more flexibility that way.
So now if husband had a job and he was offered to contribute to one of these retirement plans, and he takes some of his uh, wages or salary and puts this money into these retirement accounts, that money was not taxed to him in the income tax. Is that how that works?
Yeah, in the traditional way, because there's a traditional and there's Roth. So the difference really between those is the traditional means money has gone into the account pre-tax. So he's not had to pay taxes on that money. So he gets a tax deduction when he puts the money in initially. So I give the example of, you say you make $100,000, round numbered, and he then takes and puts $10,000 into a retirement account. Well, to the government, because he's taken that before taxes, it's the first line item that he's taken out of his paycheck. He shows the government $90,000 worth of income. So it can keep him in a lower tax bracket and keep him ideally paying less taxes now while he's earning or was earning and making more money. Now, the flip side of that, well, actually, let me step back and say, when he does later down the road and take the money out, because he's not paid the taxes to start, he will have to pay the taxes when the money comes out. And he'll
So,
pay income tax on that.
so just to be sure I understand, when this money is put into this retirement account, that money is then invested in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually with the 401ks, they are limited to just mutual funds. And it's just what the employer plan allows. But there are ways where you can, in certain plans, put it into mutual exchange traded funds and stocks and bonds as well. But those types of plans are fairly limited. When you get into the IRA realm, now it really opens you up where you can put it into annuities and CDs and other types of investments in addition to the stocks, bonds, mutual funds.
Okay. So, if in our scenario, the dad who had a retirement account passes away and he names his wife as the beneficiary, can you go over her options again?
Yeah, so she can do a few things with it. When she now takes it, she would either be able to, first off, take it as her own. And so she can continue to have it. It's now hers, and she can move it into an IRA, and they do what they call a rollover. And that's a very important word, is rollover, because rolling it over means you're taking it from one retirement account to a different retirement account, where she can take it and move it into, say, an IRA, where then she can manage it on her own. That way, there's no taxes, there's no penalties. The government doesn't care about that. Because remember, we talked about whether money comes in or out of the account is when she's taxed. But if she's rolling it over and not taking a distribution, she's not taxed. If she does then decide, okay, I want to close out the account, or she takes it as a distribution and puts it in her bank account and holds on to it that way, or wants to invest it separately, that amount of money that she does take out from that is then taxed potentially on that. And, that it could basically, if it's a large enough amount, if we're talking, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, that can hurt her because it's adding, say, $1 million worth of extra income to her and takes her up into the next tax bracket. Now she's paying at the highest levels of taxes when maybe she shouldn't, or she could absolutely avoid doing that.
So, if she were to roll over this retirement account, is it now no longer treated as the father or husband's retirement account, and now treated as her retirement account?
Correct. Yes. So it's hers. And so when it comes down to, let's say, the good example of this is going back to that requirement of distribution. So if she's then required to take out distributions, or let's say he's older, he's a few years older, right? And she's a few years younger. Well, if he's older, he's taking out a higher amount of money, and because it's based off of his age and his lifetime. Well, if it's going to transfer to her and she's a little younger, now they're going to readjust those requirement of distributions down to her age and her projected lifetime. So she may be able to take out less money from those from a year to year basis, which allows her to stretch it a little longer.
So, if she is under 59 and a half and she rolls over this retirement account to create her own retirement account as if it was hers, if she's under 59 and a half, would she be subject to the penalties if she took funds out?
Yes. So because it now turns into hers. So she's under 59 and a half. When she receives it, it becomes hers as though she had received it, right? So that if she takes the money out as a distribution, she's subject to those penalties.
What if she's under 73? Would she still have to make required minimum distributions, or is it okay for her to let the money grow tax free and get that stretch out?
Yeah, she can absolutely keep that money in there. She doesn't have to. The 73 mark is where they require you to take it out of a traditional IRA. And so you don't have to in before that at any point. You can you can penalty free after 59 and a half. Between then and 73, right? You don't have to take any withdrawals if you don't want to. And then once you hit 73, they're going to start making you do that. And they're actually increasing that to age 75 here in a couple of years.